Yangti visualization, we have now three types of, the three types of deities you have to visualize. As I said, one represents the Dhammakaya, one represents the Sambhogakaya, one represents the Nimanakaya. And these three different representation, represents the universal form and universal sound, universal mind or universal thought. And so these three kayas represents whole universe. That we have to understand. And then after that, we are now, we take also refuge. In the ritual practices, the most important is to take refuge. Then the second thing is to develop the bodhicitta. And then the third thing, or the main thing, is of course the Vajrayana practices, like visualizations, etc., etc. But most important to start with is the refuge practice. Refuge practice need to be really practiced very nicely. As I mentioned yesterday, the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, we say, and it sounds like very much like a selfish, sounds like those of some of them not very important thing, but actually it is a very important. In terms of our practices, it's a very, very important. Buddha, let me say it again. Yesterday also we said it, but Buddha needs to be understood as a part of, or as your mind. Actually, the mind is the Buddha, and namingly speaking, people or the spiritual practitioners they call it how do you say, Dharmakaya, but that is just a special way of calling it. But actually it is the reality of the mind. And actual fact, it's very, in our practice, the Mahayana practice, or the practice in general, we need to, first of all, what we really need to know is the mind. Mind is really the important thing, actually. Regardless of calling it Buddha or not, calling it Guru or not, that doesn't matter. Sometimes you may like to call it Guru, sometimes you may like to call it as a Buddha, sometimes you may like to call it as a deity, deity, Dakini, etc. You can call it in a very different forms of names, different types of names. It's just a matter of a name or label. It's not important to be attached to. But actually it is the mind. It is the mind. So the mind is very important. It's the first priority in terms of practices. Mind is the first priority. And that is very, very understandable, we call it like we say, generally speaking, we say Buddha is so important, Buddha is so precious, Buddha is holy, so we have to pay respect to the Buddha. We have to practice Buddha. We have to achieve Buddha. The Buddha is sounds like very much the main goal. So that is true. Buddha is main goal, actually. But how do you perceive it? That's the question. You perceive Buddha as a person, a very holy person, enlightened person. Then that's not right. Yes, he is holy, yes. He become Buddha in Buddha Gaya, Buddha Shakyamuni, for example. He become Buddha in Buddha Gaya. and he became Buddha. Ever since then he was known as Buddha Shakyamuni. Shakya is the, how do you say, I don't know what you call that, the lineage. He has his own genetic lineage, genetic lineage known as Shakya lineage. So he's coming from Shakya, so his name is Buddha Shakyamuni. So he's known, he become very well known, and he become Buddha Shakyamuni, Buddha Shakyamuni. But is he the one we are talking about? No, he is not the one we are talking about. Now then, when we say Buddha, when we pronounce Buddha, then what are we talking about? We are talking about nothing but our mind. That is the thing. That's a very important cases that you mustn't miss. You mustn't lose the way, direction. That is the direction. Whenever you say about the Buddha, Buddha being so important, Buddha being so holy, Buddha being so precious, Buddha being main target, Buddha being main target of the devotion, the main sort of like a subject of a devotion, we have a very strong or very wrong sort of a wrong way of perceiving Buddha. People even sometimes they think Buddha means those statues on the shrine, that these are the Buddha. So you just point to the shrine and say, these are the Buddha. Which Buddhas are there? Yes, 3 Buddhas are there, 4 Buddhas are there. One nice, beautiful Buddha is there in the shrine. Beautiful in what sense? Because it's made out of gold, it's made out of copper, it's made out of brass, and painted very nicely. So it's a very, very beautiful Buddha. This temple has lots of beautiful Buddhas are there. So this is what we, terminologically speaking, we attach with that. And that's wrong. Maybe you can say that way, just the sake of conversation. For the sake of conversation, you can say that way. Nothing wrong with that, saying it. But actual understanding should not be like this. Should never be like that. Understanding should be the mind. It has to be concentrated on mind. Whenever you say Buddha, the mind needs to be the subject of thought, subject of concept. If you, if you have a conceptual thought, conceptual attitude, to point the Buddha out, then you have to, conceptually speaking, you have to focus on the mind, nothing but mind. That is really the Buddhist way of looking at the Buddha. Sometime you can, for sure you can have a perception of Buddha Shakyamuni as a Buddha. You can. Especially when the connection with the practice. Whatever we practices, like Yangti practices, Sangeet Sewa practices, Mahakala practice, Mahakali practices, Tara Devi practices, all the practices, hundreds of different practices what we do are, the credit goes to Lord Buddha Shakyamuni, because he found the way to do these practices for us. So now we are following, we are trying our best to go through the rituality. So therefore the credit goes to Buddha Shakyamuni, always. That is the reason why we have a kind of a concept of Buddha Shakyamuni being Buddha. But it's wrong. There is a wrong thing happening in that concept. If you see Buddha Shakyamuni as Buddha, that is wrong, actually. Buddha Shakyamuni is enlightened beings, yes. But actual Buddha, ultimate Buddha, actual Buddha is the mind. Without saying, without specificate, um, without being so fanatic, without separating the Buddha and those people who become Buddha, who became Buddha. Without separating it, just you say Buddha. You just say Buddha, or without even separating your mind or somebody's mind, just without giving all these specifications. Just Buddha. Just when you say Buddha, always refers to the mind. No matter whose mind is it, that doesn't matter. Mind is the one that is Buddha. Regardless of the dirty mind or the pure mind. Means regardless of mind that has full of compassions, full of devotions, full of bodhicittas, etc., or mind with lots of defilement, anger, desire, hatred, etc. Doesn't matter. Mind is Buddha. So, people may think like those when we say that, there are people, a bunch of people may say that what if when I get angry, when I want to kill somebody else, then that type of mind, is this still the Buddha that you are talking about? Yes, for sure. That's for sure. For sure. 100% sure. It is Buddha. So then the next question is that then that type of Buddha is causing a problem in the society. Killing and all these things, killing, taking lives of others, eating meat, drinking blood, and all these things, all sorts of bloody things, the mind is doing. So that actually means Buddha is doing, isn't it? So Buddha is being very naughty, Buddha is being the cause of the sufferings and samsaric sufferings and complications. Is it right, or is it kind of something else you have to say? Of course, you can say, generally speaking, you can say that way too. I don't mind. People like me, I wouldn't mind. You can call it like that. Buddha is causing a problem. Nothing, doesn't matter. Buddha can cause a problem. Why not? If Buddha can cause peaceful atmosphere, why cannot Buddha be causing the problem in the society? No problem. You cannot say that the Buddha will be doing this one, but not that one. You cannot say that. Buddha can do anything, whatever it is need to be done. For example, there are some sutras saying that some of the greatest the Bodhisattva are very good at destroying Buddha Dharma. So this actually means that they can do anything which we cannot really conceive, we cannot understand. When we say great bodhisattvas, some great bodhisattvas are good at destroying Buddha Dharma. How can it be like this? It's almost impossible to even to think about it, even to conceive, even to talk about it. It is not something that we can talk about. It is a taboo, actually. To our concept, if somebody is destroying our Buddha Dharma, that is for sure 100% he's not a Buddha. He's not the emanation of Buddha. He's not the emanation of great Bodhisattva. He is a devil. He is evil. He is really the emanation of the evil. So devil, all these things. He's really like the worst being in this world. He can never be an emanation of Buddha. He can never be the Bodhisattva. He can never be the Arhati. That's what we say. Our conceptual mind says that way. So we stick with that. We get stuck with that. So Buddha can be anything. Buddha can be causing anything, causing peace, causing problem also. But now practically speaking, practically speaking means like when we want to practice, okay? Just a while ago what I'm talking was, what I was talking was that very generalized. But now specifically speaking, when we come to really the practical level of understanding, then you have to tell yourself, saying that purified mind and impure mind, or in other words, the realized mind and ignorant mind, these two are the kind of differences that makes the world negative and the world positive. Purified mind, pure mind, realized mind causes the peace in the world. Impure mind, contaminated mind, unrealized or unrealized or whatever you may call, not realizing mind, that type of mind causes the problem, all sorts of problems. Yet, it doesn't mean, that is the very important thing, that doesn't mean that the negative part of the mind is not Buddha. That is very important to understand. Otherwise, you will be again carried away by the specifications. Lot of different specifications. Lot of different, what do you call that? Yes and no, good and bad, negative and positive, long and short, big and small, happy and not happy, pain and bliss. These are the conceptual thought which causes the problem, which is the problem actually. It is the problem, not only the cause is causing the problem, but it is the problem. Big is also a problem, small is also a problem. But I'm not talking about the big and small, those things. These are the projection anyway. These are the projection that is there. But you can say they are the problem, but actual fact, the problem is the projector. The projector, that is the problem. The projector, which means the mind, the conceptual mind that conceives the things or perceives the things in a way that it's a very big and attached to it. And the conceptual mind which tells you which tells you and which identifies you or identifies the things, the things around you for you as a small object, then it's a problem. Because that minor concept that gives very strong sense of attachment, but very small, very tiny, but very, very strong. That is the problem. That causes the problem. That causes the problem. That is a problem. So, but still, no matter what you say, what you believe, mind is Buddha. I think many of you have already gotten lots of teachings of Vajrayana, lots of teachings and initiation also you received. Dzogpa Chembu teachings, Mahamudra teachings, the teachings of great perfections. In Dzogpa Chimbu practices, we have a practice of Shitro, which means the peaceful deities and wrathful deities. Overall, I think over 100 over deities. So many of them are very, very wrathful. They eat, they live on the meat, they live on the human flesh, they live on human's blood, and etc. etc. And they are the naughtiest, species, if you like, in this world. Yet they are Buddha. They are so-called wrathful Buddha. Why? Why is it so that the Vajrayana tradition has such a peculiar way of introducing Buddha? The answer will be the same thing that I was talking about. Why not? The concept of being Buddha, the concept of Buddha being peaceful is wrong, ultimately speaking. Buddha, why can't Buddha cause problem also? The topic goes back to what I said just a while ago. That is the reason, the wrathful Buddhas, like commonly known what we say is that something like a Vajrapani, say, Mahakala. It's very common, Other things maybe you might have not heard. The names are very secret to you. But Mahakala is very, very well known. Mahakali is very well known. They look like a very wrathful. They're eating human flesh, not only just an animal, but human. They're drinking human's blood. And all these things, as if they are really the naughtiest. And they are naughtiest. I mean, if they exist like that, they are naughtiest. They eat human from, from life. They just eat. And why is it so that it needs to be showing that way? Is to show our negative mind is also a Buddha. To break through the conceptual wall, dualistic wall, or in other words, attachment that we have. We have a very peculiar attachment that organizes our life in its own way, which from the point of view of Vajrayana or Yangti practice, it is not very welcomed. It is not something that we should be attaching with. Maybe for the time being it's okay, because relatively it works. Relatively you can say this is good, this is bad, this should not be done, that should be done. Peace is needed, problem is not needed. So of course you go for peace, not for problem. You cause the problem, peace, but not the problem. Try not to cause any problems to anyone. Try to cause peace, the cause of peace. Try to create that sort of atmosphere. So this is relatively, yes, whatever your mind says, organizes, that is very good. Relatively it is needed to be done that way. But ultimately speaking, the Yangtik language, according to Yangtik language, according to the Dzogchen, according to the Mahamudra, the ultimate level of understanding, it is not like that. The way that your mind organizes, it should not be, attaching to that sort of organization. Therefore, the Buddha Certain Buddhas appeared as a very lusty. Certain Buddhas appeared as a very, very angry. As I said, as if they really will eat everybody in this world. They will kill everybody in this world. Not only just goats and sheep, but they can kill everybody in this world. They will make the world empty. So nasty. They are the super terrorists. They're going to be a super terrorist, that they will eat everybody. They will kill everybody. Yet they are Buddha. Mahakala is a Buddha, emanation of Akhyobhe Buddha. It's the direct emanation, or the the manifestation of Akhyobhe Buddha. And Mahakali, who is very, 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 again, very, how do you say, what do you call that? Very, very wrathful and very problematic, I would say. Very, very. It's she always appears as a very wrathful, and many of her image has a human body in her mouth. That actually means she has been eating meat, flesh, human flesh, and all these things. But actually, she is the Tara, the green Tara, the Tara Devi, the peaceful Tara Devi, which is female form of Buddha, comes in the form of Tara, the Mahakali, for instance. Now the problem for us, for conceptual people, the conceptual minded people, people like us, we have a problem to understand how it works and why is it so. That is the reason why I'm saying that the mind is the Buddha, and mind comes in a different form, the form of anger. Mind comes in the form of desire, lusty. Mind comes in the form of jealousy. Mind comes in the form of, what do you call that, the pride. And mind appears as a varieties of forms. Why? That's the reason why the Buddha appears in the form of varieties. Female form, male form, wrathful form, peaceful form, lustful form, and understanding form, sitting very nicely form, sitting very the very sort of like a lousy way. Some Buddhas are sleeping, some Buddhas are dancing, some Buddhas are jumping, some Buddhas are riding on the horse, some Buddha riding on the lion, some Buddha rides on the dog, some Buddha rides on the peacock, some Buddha rides on the pig, some Buddha rides on the dragon, some Buddhas ride on, how do you say, different sorts of animals, different sorts of throne, different sorts of things. This actually tells you that the mind can be appeared as a form of varieties of sorts. That is what yet they are Buddha. That is the thing we have to understand. There are many people think that they were told, when they were told that the mind is being Buddha, they have a very strong attachment, making two different type of mind. One is clean mind, one is dirty mind. Dirty mind cannot be Buddha. Clean mind can be Buddha, but not the dirty one, for sure. This is our attachment says. It's not the fact. But our attachment says that the dirty mind cannot be Buddha. Why not? Since the mind is Buddha, what's wrong with being dirty? Dirty is, overall, it is a dirtiness, or dirty itself is, of course, a projection of your own mind, concept of your own mind. It's just a concept. Or it's just a projection. It's just, you said it. That's it, You said it, she said it, he said it, we said it. So then, of course, become culture, become so important. When we say, not dirty, when I say this is not dirty, so then somebody say, yes, this is not dirty. Somebody say from left, yes, this is not dirty. Sure, you're right. So everybody says, this is not dirty. So we all will say not dirty. So we end up eating meat. We kill animal and eat meat. And we all keep on saying, this is not dirty at all. Go ahead, eat it. Very clean. So of course our concept says it's very clean. So millions, billions, countlesses of people and beings in this world eats meat. Very clean, nothing wrong. And we don't feel that is dirty. Our concept is very strong. Our concept says that this is something that you should eat. Chicken you should eat. Very good. Pork you should eat. Doesn't matter. You can kill and you can open the skin and eat it. Eat all the things inside the body. It's clean. Go ahead. So of course we think it's clean, so we eat it. Actual fact, is it clean or not? I mean, you just can imagine. From our concept, our conceptual mind, you just be honest and answer this question, whether that is clean or not. Of course, it is not clean. From our conceptual point of view, I wouldn't say it's a clean. It's a very dirty. You open and it's a dead body. And then you eat everything, whatever is inside. It's a bloody. It's such a nuisance. It's such a barbaric way of doing it. And it is such a dirty thing to do, dirty thing to eat, dirty thing to drink. But there are thousands of people in this world who's even drinking the life blood. And they say, very good for energy, very good for the body. It gives lots of energy. Go ahead. So of course they put the spears or something like that to the cows. Poor cow, he suffers tremendously, and we put this, and then the blood comes. Blood comes like a tap water, turning tap on. So then the blood comes out, and then you just go with the pot, and then the blood comes, and then the pot will be full of blood, and then you drink. Wow, that's the best. Not even thinking about dirty or the dirty or not dirty or clean. They don't even think about it. It's a very good protein. It's such a good way of, or good thing for the body. Go ahead. But the conceptual mind says so that you can just do it. But actual, so dirty. So dirty and the dirty and the clean, for example. These are just, we made it up. So you can just imagine what I'm talking about actually. So therefore, Lord Buddha Shakyamuni, he kept on saying that don't be attached to anything. So this actually means the concept of something being very clean, something being very dirty, something being very good, something being very bad, something being very big, something being very small and high and low, and the distance long and short, far and short, and all these things should not be attached. Of course you'll have it, that's the relative world, you will have it, but that you should not, you as a yogi, you as a practitioner of Dzogchen, you as a practitioner of Mahamudra, Yangti, you need to really free yourself from those attachments. Though you will have relative discipline. Relative discipline is needed. What to eat, what not to eat. What to do and what not to do. You know, relative truth is very important. It is a step by step. The path goes step by step. Gradual path. So it has to go through the steps. So of course relative truth is a very important. So relatively it is very, very important to have a discipline. What to eat and what not to eat, for example. I'm not eating meat. I'm not going to eat meat. It's a how do you say? It causes the catastrophe for those animals. We are becoming terrorists. So we are not going to kill anybody. I'm not going to eat meat for that reason. I'm not going to eat drink blood. I'm not going to drink alcohol, because I will be crazy. I will be mad, and I will not be finding my own solution, my own way of developing my own life. So therefore I shouldn't drink alcohol. I'm not going to drink any time. I'm not going to drink. So, that sort of thing. You have to know what to do, what not to do, what to drink, what not to drink, what to eat and what not to eat. You have to have your own discipline. But at the same time, you should not have we call it attachment. Attachment never is welcomed. So that is the main practice of Yangti. We call it Sungjuk. It's a great union. Sungjuk Chambo. Great union. Chagya Chambo. Great union. That's a very, very important. Great union. Union of union of understanding a union, the union between two things, like under non-attachment. The understanding of non-attachment actually means the practice of non-attachment and discipline. Practice nicely, genuinely, orderly. Lead your life in orderly. Yet you have no attachment. These two are very much needed to be united. Union. Union is one of the most important language in our Vajrayana society, so to speak. Union. Always union. Union is such an important thing. In the Mahayana, also we have a tradition of pronouncing union and practicing union. But in Mahayana we have a we have a, how do you say, we have our own way of identifying the union. Union between the emptiness means emptiness, that the things are not inherently exist, and the relative appearance, the things that are appearing very, very vividly in front of us. So these two are united. Therefore, Mahayana emphasizes quite oftenly about the bodhicitta practice with the sense of emptiness, with the sense of shunyata, along with the shunyata. Bodhicitta practice need to be done along with the understanding of shunyata. So this is what Mahayana way of practicing the bodhicitta. Mahayana way of practicing the union. But the Vajrayana way of practicing the union, nothing much different between the Mahayana and the Vajrayana. There's not much of different. But the only different is that in Vajrayana it goes deeper. And it applies to everything. Every bits and pieces of the movement of your own life needs to be united. It needs to be applied, implemented, along with the practice of union. All the movement, entire life need to be understood as a union. Not only the part of life, but the part of life with not only the part of life that you have, but the part of the life that you can see externally. For example, the cup, mug, tea, flower, shoes, hat, jackets, trousers, skirts. Everything needs to be specified with by the union. For instance, a cup. The fact that is empty inside, it should be representing, or it is representing the emptiness. The fact that is solid and and it's the fact that it's round and holding the water in is representing the skillful method, what we call bliss. In Vajrayana we call it bliss. We call it great bliss. Or in common language we call it skillful method. It is true that this mug is a very skillful method to hold the water in. It's very much appropriate way to call it skillful method. It is a skillful method. If you want a water to be held, this cup is a very skillful method. So the fact that the cup being round and holding the water is a skillful method. And then the fact that the cup being empty inside, it is the great emptiness. It represents, or it definitely is the emptiness. It shows. So, practically speaking, I'm not talking about the view. The view is something else. But practically speaking, from the point of view of practicality, the cup itself is using the cup itself, usage of the cup itself is a great practice of great union. Dzogchen. So you have to see that way. That is the Yangti practice. Which is in Mahayana tradition, we don't say that. We have no way of saying that. We don't emphasize that deep and that strong in that. Generally, we say the same thing, but not really specifically about the cup being a union, about the shoes being a union, about this and that, specifically. Empty, inside, outside. For example, anything that is inside, anything that has inside is it is the representation of union. Inside the hollow inside of the house is the emptiness, and then the externally the building building figure is the skillful method, or in the Vajrayana skillful. A blissful substance, or blissful, blissful. So these two united, everything is automatically there in the union way. No one is thinking about it. No one has thought about it. But of course, when they make a house, it is a made kind of form, in the form of a union, dzogchen. When they make shoes, it makes it becomes a dzogchen. I wouldn't say the dzogchen shoes, but it's a it has all the what do you call that? Yeah, it has all the denomination of the dzogchen. Automatically. And when we were born, we are also with the strong denomination of the dzogchen. When the factory designs the cup, mug, anything, without thinking of dzogchen at all, they never heard of it, I think. But this is, automatically it comes as a dzogchen. Everything. Anything that exists in this world are dzogchen. Anything that is existing in this world are Yangtik. So, what we are trying to say here is that the mind mind being a Buddha, mind being a Buddha, you can say Buddha, mind being a Guru Padma Sambhava, mind being enlightenment, everything that is coming in this world, becoming in this world, that everything that is existing in this world or created in this world automatically become dzogchen. As I mentioned, shoes, cup, what else? You can just simply keep on saying it anyway. You don't have to sort of follow the ritually or text. You just keep on saying, the flowers, anything that is there. Because they are creation of your own mind. Even though you have a big factory that produces millions of products in a second, in a few seconds or something like that. But all of them, overall, it is the manifestation of your own mind. So the mind being a Buddha, every product, if you like, every product that produces by the conceptual mind are Buddha, are the son of the Buddha, the Bodhisattvas. Of course, I know, I think it is a very, very deep and profound, and people don't, many of you may not understand what I'm trying to say, but I'm trying my best to let you know what is Yangti, what is the purpose of the visualization, and what is really the practice of the refuge according to the Yangti. Refuge in general, it is a very well known, everybody talks about it. Without refuge we cannot be a Buddhist. In order to be a Buddhist, you have to be a refuge. You have to be a refugee of the Buddha, Dharma and Sangha. That's for sure. It is well said, it is very well known, it is very well sort of like a separate spread in our society. But now when it comes to practical level of understanding, then the refuge is also a very important to understand. As I mentioned before, the Buddha being a mind, that is a very important, the first important thing that you have to understand. And mind has a lot of manifestations of negative, manifestations of positive, etc. But all, regardless of any kind of negative or positive manifestations, it is a Buddha, for sure. That is what I'm trying to say. And therefore, mind is Yangti, and causes of whatever the mind causes, they are the manifestation of the Buddha, or the manifestation of Yangti. They all are equally Yangti. This is the reason why I said yesterday, the universal Buddha, universal Dharma, universal Sangha. That is the thing. It's a universal. Everything, everywhere, anything. So that's kind of one of the things that one mustn't forget. And now, that is now in this program, it's sort of like written down like a Yangti visualization meditation. I think that is very good order. I thought maybe they have not, how do you say? They have not thought about it. But I thought, when they type, I think they have not thought about this thing. They haven't thought about this. But then I thought it was quite good, orderly said. Very good order. Yangti, visualization, meditation. Very good, I think. Yesterday, day before yesterday, the first day, I was talking about Yangti, that's it. And then the second day, we were talking about the visualization a little bit. And today, maybe I thought meditation is very important to talk about. Meditation is, to my understanding, even though of course there are many, many types of meditation, Hinayana way of meditating, Vajrayana way of meditating, Mahayana way of meditating, and also the great masters. So many great masters have a different sorts of varieties of meditation, skills, which is equally good. All of them are equally good, equally profound, equally effective. But to my understanding, generally speaking, meditation is the one that you have to really familiarize yourself with the things that we were talking about. For example, you have to familiarize with the Yangti, which actually means the universal Buddha, Dharma and Sangha, universal truth. Without saying that you are Buddhist or not Buddhist, or you are believer or not believer, doesn't matter. These things are very minor thing. Obviously it is much better to have a belief in it. Obviously it is better to be a Buddhist if you want to practice Buddhist path of the understanding. Obviously you are better off, you will be better off if you are Buddhist. That's for sure, understandable. But if you really don't want to be called Buddhist, doesn't matter. Be free. But the most important thing, what really you should really never miss is to improve through the skill of familiarizing yourself. That is a very, very important. As I mentioned yesterday also a bit, that one of the important, reason why the visualization needed to be done. Visualization of Guru Padma Sambhava, visualization of that, visualization of this, visualization of mandala, visualization of so many different things, In a Vajrayana there are thousands of Buddhas, different, as I mentioned before, that some Buddha has varieties of things that they sit on, they ride on. Sometimes, some of them, they have a pig that they ride on. Pig that has 9 heads, and then they ride on a pig. And we, humanly speaking, that we never thought about riding a pig. You can ride a horse, but not a pig. Oh, speaking about that, I have seen in Australia, one local deities driving a car. And why not? Riding a pig is okay. Poor pig can go, can run. It doesn't matter. But of course our concept says that the deities cannot drive a car. They will not have a car. We are the only one who has a car, but not the deities. That our concept says that. But it's a different country, different culture, different thing. And that's possible. Why all these need to be in the shrine and all these traditional way of believing in Buddha, all the Buddhas and all, they ride all sorts of different sorts of animals, different sorts of things, including pigs and dragons and snakes and whatnot. But none of them has a car to drive. Why? Because those days, people have no concept of driving cars. Say 300 years ago, 400 years ago, even in America or Europe, nobody has the concept of having a car. Nobody has the concept of having a motorbike. So conceptually speaking, it is not possible. But now it is. It's what do you call that? Witnessed by my eyes, that I've seen one deity, was the local deity, I guess, Australian deity, driving a white jeep. I was going for cycling for 10 days. I was going for cycling for 10 days. Just before the bicycle yatra, I don't know, a couple of years ago, around 10 years ago I think, I thought I should exercise myself a little bit, familiarize myself a little bit about the cycle, what do you call that? Bicycle. So I went for outing on bicycle with a guide. The Australia, of course, like anywhere else in the Western country, they have lots of rules and regulations. Here you can go anywhere, you can go anywhere. If you have time, if you have a skill, you can just ride everywhere you can go. Over there, no. there are different places, and there are places that you cannot bicycle. You cannot go. There are places that you can go, but with a permission. You have to go with a permission. I don't know where, but from where, but you have to get a permission saying yes, you can, but not, within so and so many days. So of course I got all the permissions and all these things, and with the guide and with food also. They come with the food. I pay. So well arranged anyway. So then this guy who's taking me on bicycle, they said no car can go this big. That's the reason, no car can go. So I went up and I shown him that this is I saw that can you see it? He can't see it. So what to do? He can't see it, I can see it. So there's no argument. Yes. Okay. So full stop. I mean, no conversation. The conversation finished. I said, "There's a white car is going," right? And he said, "No way. It's not allowed. There's not even a motorable road. There is no motorable road. So of course, forget about having a car driven there. It's not possible." So I said, "Okay, finished." So that was the thing that's happened. So anyway, that was in the jungle. That was in the jungle and the hill. So anyway, it's a bit of gossip. Anyway, so what I'm trying to say. So yeah, so universal Buddha, universal Dhamma, universal Bodhisattva, universal Yogi, universal Yoga, Dakini, and universal Daka. All these things has to be universally understood. Universal understand. Universal. It has to be understood as a universe. Universal Buddha, Daka, Dakinis. There is no reason to keep ourselves limited and be attached. That is the main weakness of our Vajrayana practices. When we practice Vajrayana, should never be limiting ourselves to a certain type of deities, to a certain type of Daka, to a certain type of Dakinis and this and that, with the attachment. Again, you have to understand attachment. I'm talking about attachment. You should never have an attachment. Of course, when you practice Guru Padmasambhava, Yangti, you have a rule and regulations. How you should be going ahead with. For example, how you visualize Guru Padmasambhava. What color is it going to be? And after that, inside the body of the Guru Padmasambhava, Avalokiteshvara. How many hands should be there? What color that Avalokiteshvara is? And then after that, you should visualize an Amitabha. Again, has to be very vividly meditated, very visualized nicely. That, of course, the discipline, as I said, discipline need to be there, but no attachment. So this is the thing that you have to familiarize yourself with, that kind of thing. Union. That is the meditation. There's not much thing to talk about it. You don't really have to be very confused. I want to apologize on behalf of all the masters, the many masters, being so confusing. Some masters, they confuses you. Maybe not purposely, but as I mentioned a couple of days ago, They are very well, very, very, very well and high standard. Too high standard that they are talking like too much. And our standard is too low that we don't understand what they are talking about. So the gap is so far, so you don't understand, you don't get any signal. Network is not there. It's like Amitabha network, telephone network, Wi-Fi, everything doesn't work. Sometimes, it works, but then it doesn't. So it doesn't make any sense. Even though there is a connection, but connection doesn't work. It just doesn't make any sense. So similarly that the teaching is too high, too complicated, and you don't get it. That is now what we should know is, I think, meditation is very much the skill of familiarizing yourself with the union. That is the thing, union. So visualization comes part of the union. I mean, yes, a union. Union needs to be visualized in a way. Or union needs to be visualized, union needs to be meditated also. There is a way of meditating it. Since the meditation is nothing but familiarizing, skill of familiarizing yourself with something. For example, we are very, very good at meditation. We are very good at meditating the relative phenomena, relative truth, relative phenomena. We are in this world, I mean in conjunction with saying this, I would say we are very good at, we are very sort of like advanced in a sense of familiarization with the world, worldly things. We have so strong attachment with the worldly things, being so dualistic. We are so familiarized with the things that it's happening in this world, very, very familiarized, very, very familiar. So we are very advanced in terms of our meditation. Without meditating it, without doing it, it's spontaneous kind of thing, it comes. Why? Because we have been practicing this kind of meditation since beginninglessness of the time till today. So of course, we got to be so familiarized with that. We are very advanced. Now the problem is we have to transform that slightly in a kind of a different direction, and they do the same thing but little different direction. For example, the direction that we have right now, in the mundane way, is the dualistic way. Now you have to change that skill into a little different direction. Not really 100%, but little different direction. Skill is the same, but the direction is the different. And say, non-dualistic attitude, non-dualistic way of approaching or going about. So that is the kind of thing that you have to do it. And when you do that, when you need to really go through that, that is the difficulty. Why? Because the dualistic way of believing and way of concept is so well built, as I mentioned the other day. And now you have to change this kind of concept and change it into a different direction, which makes a little difficulty, very difficult. And that is the struggle that we are going through. When we go through the practice of meditation, that's the problem, if you like. Actually, of course, there shouldn't be any problem. But of course, the problem always comes. Again, it is maybe a part of our karma, part of our unskillfulnesses, part of our laziness, a part of our busyness, and all the problems are there. But actual fact, the main problem comes from that the familiarization, the type of familiarization that you have built ever since beginninglessness of the time till today is wrongly built, is wrongly conceived. And that is what I call, or what we call, as an attachment. And now we have to go back and say, or go back and try to understand the other side of the phenomena, which is non-attachment. It is repeatedly said anyway, even from the Vinaya, even from the Vinaya, the beginning part of the Buddhist practice, such as refuge, common refuge. We say that non-attachment. No, should not be attached. Attachment is no good. We always say that. But we have to know how you receive it, how you understand, and how you really have to go about it. That is very important when we say non-attachment. In the Hinayana, or the common path, we talk about the non-attachment, but people sees when we say non-attachment, when that context of the Hinayana, we see, and I think we also believe in that too. And Buddha knows that people would be misunderstanding that way, but doesn't matter. He knows. He knows that, but he's expected that way. He's expecting us to be confused a little bit. Doesn't matter, because this is temporary treatment. So he sort of like indicated that the practice of non-attachment in context of the Hinayana is to avoid the comfort of the world, to run away from the world, to run away from the family, from the wealth, from the health or whatever. You just run away from the rest of the world and go to the get yourself lost in the jungle and do the practice of shunyata and all these things, whatever you are doing practices. And excuse me. So now I lost myself in nowhere. I lost myself in a jungle. I think we were in a jungle, no? So, yeah. So that treatment, what Buddha Shakyamuni said in the Hinayana, is a temporary kind of what you call that temporary solution. It's like antibiotics, It's just a temporary kind of thing, solution that helps you to sort of get more peace, so that hopefully you will be building up. You will have enough time to build up and to sort of like accumulate a lot of merits and all these things, whatever. because during I mean in the world, in the world of family, in the world of wealth, in the world of wars and relationships and all these things, you don't have a time. You don't have a time to practice. You don't have a time to pacify yourself. You don't have a time to relax, because all these relationships are keeping us so busy, so stressed. So therefore, people like us who's causing this kind, who's experiencing this kind of problem, recommended to go. So this is practice of non-attachment. Vinaya is very well known to be the practice of non-attachment. So this is, again, it's nothing wrong with it. And the same denomination or same terminology that we may use, non-attachment, even in Vajrayana also, non-attachment. But the non-attachment in the Vajrayana, or especially in Yangti, what we can say, what we are talking about is that familiarizing yourself with the fact that the things are primordially union, automatically union. So that is, you may call it practice of non-attachment, or it is a non-attachment. Itself is a non-attachment, no doubt about it. So in a very short form, or in a very kind of abbreviated form, then you can say meditation is nothing but the non-attachment. That's all. Non-attachment. Continuation of non-attachment. Continuation of a practice of non-attachment. That's very simple to say, but very difficult to practice. Because when we talk about non-attachment, as I mentioned just a while ago, it's the direction, completely different direction. You have to change the direction, and then you have to go through this direction, non-attachment direction, not the attachment direction. So therefore it's very difficult for us to understand. Not only just, we're not talking about we're not talking about the difficulties to avoid the family, to avoid the wealth and this and that. We're not talking about that specifically. It can be the topic, but we are not talking about that. We're talking about the view, we are talking about the meditation. So if we talk about when we talk about the meditation, it's very difficult to have a non-attachment in our meditation, because we're not used to it. That's all. We're not used to it. So now, in order to get yourself used to it, you have to get familiarized yourself. So skill of familiarizing itself is the meditation. So this is what I found out through the guideline that Drukpa Pema Karpo and also the Kunken Longchen Ramjam, they pointed out very nicely that way. Obviously they have a more profound way of saying that, but I am very shallow, and I'm trying to be shallow because it's easier for us to sort of swim. So otherwise, if it's a deep, very deep like an ocean, then we may drown ourselves. We may get drowned. So it should be, it should be like we should understand meditation in that way, the familiarization with by yourself like that. And so that is meditation. And now that kind of meditation can be done along with the visualization, or that can be singly done. That can be done without visualization. Doesn't matter. You can do either way. You can do either way. with or without, doesn't matter. Anyway, the meditation can be done with many sorts of different events or different part of life. Meditation can be done along with the food, meal. Meditation can be done with the along with the walking, along with the sleeping, along with dream, along with daydream, along with the night dream. Meditation can be done anywhere. It's no good to say that the meditation can only be done in the shrine, can only be done when you are able to sit cross-legged, can only be done when you recite mantra, can only be done when you do sadhanas. You shouldn't be limiting yourself into these sort of things, even though, again, let me repeat again, you need to have a discipline. Some sense of discipline definitely needed. How many hours you are spending time in your shrine, how many hours or minutes you are spending time on reciting mantras, how many hours of time of your day spending for yourself to do a circumambulation and yoga, etc., etc. Definitely you have to have a regulation for yourself, constitution for yourself, and the discipline, definitely overall. But what is not good is that you limit yourself, saying to yourself, telling yourself, saying that this can only be done in a shrine. It can only be done in a certain with the circumstances, certain circumstances. That is not good, because then that will automatically limit yourself into a small version, small sort of like a part of your day dedicated only for meditation, which is not good. Meditation needs to be done along with every parts of the movement of your life, day and even in the night, even in a dream. That is the reason why the dream yoga is very much introduced. Because without dream yoga or the practices of yoga, you are wasting half of the life. If you have a 40 years of life to live, the 20 years from that life, 20 years you waste. You're sleeping. 20 years you're sleeping and 20 years you awake. So you're very much like making yourself very poor in terms of meditation. So therefore it is very, very recommended to do the practice of dream yogas, etc., etc. All these things are very recommendable. Also, actually, if you could manage to go through the dream yoga successfully, then whole life will be utilized in a practical way. In other words, your life will be practicing entirely. Because the life is nothing but the dream, actually. Of course, night dream is night dream, daydream is daydream, but it's a dream anyway. It is a dream. Because if you check and think of yourself, what you are really thinking, when you think, what are you thinking about actually? Mostly you are thinking, you are thinking about tomorrow, thinking about tomorrow, thinking about 1 hour later, few minutes later, few seconds later. Your thought always goes in the front. So that itself is a dream. That itself is a dream, nothing but dream. For example, tomorrow is a very, very important for us. But when you become, when actually when we say when it becomes tomorrow, tomorrow is not there anymore. It's gone. It's already today. So again, another set of tomorrow is projected and it's focused. So tomorrow is the life that actually we are really living on, not today. But tomorrow is never realized anyway, never materialized. So we are dreaming. We are dreaming something good to be happened tomorrow. So that is the dream that you are living on. And that has to be improved. So improved means in the sense that that has to be understood. Understood. Understanding itself is a way of getting into the scene of familiarization or meditation. As usual, we always keep on saying understanding or wisdom. Wisdom is needed. Wisdom is needed. We are very ignorant. We need wisdom. So that is the wisdom that we are talking about. So that wisdom brings you the peace, if you like. That wisdom gives you more sense of understanding of your life, more sense of realization of the enlightenment, which is of course inseparable or indifferent from your own life. Life itself is an enlightenment anyway, as I mentioned many times. So that is the meditation. You have to implement it along with your day-to-day life. And when it comes to Yangti, you visualize yourself as a Guru Padma Sambhava. And when you look at your visualization, again, that is the familiarizing yourself from that level, of point of view, from that level. You are recommended to be familiarize yourself as a Guru Padma Sambhava. And that itself is a meditation. Because form of Guru Padma Sambhava is nothing but a skillful method in order you to be, elevated one more step. Or in other words, in order you to promote yourself one step more. So it's a skillful method. I always say, all the Buddhas are skillful method. Even though they may have a different names, Guru Padma Sambhava, this Buddha, that Buddha, this Dakini, this Daka, yes, thousands of names. I mean, why not? I mean, you guys all have different names. So it makes some sense, but it doesn't mean that much. So the Buddhas, when you see the Buddha, you have to have as a practitioner, you have to have a notion of a skillful method for you to practice. Skillful method. That Buddha is skillful method. Skillful method. To practice. It is, in a way you can call it skillful method. Another way you can call it practice. It's a practice. It's not a person. It's not a holy. The holiness of that guy or that whatever, the Buddha or whatever, is nothing but the practice. The practice makes whole thing holy. Not the holy, not the object that it's really holy. From the point of view of Vajrayana, the practice is the one. So therefore, all the Buddhas, okay, if you have 10 of them, you point them and you say, you have to tell yourself, you have to be able to tell yourself that these are the practices. Even though you may not be practicing it, but these are there to practice. Skillful method. That is the thing. So meditation, you have to familiarize with the Vajradhara, familiarized with the Urgyen Pema Sambhava, Guru Padma Sambhava, familiarized with the Amitabha, familiarized with the Avalokiteshvara, and you familiarized with them so that the result of this familiarizing yourself with this sort of thing is non-attachment. That's all. You will have a less misconcept, less misunderstanding. Right now we have almost 100% misunderstanding. Maybe for some of you guys, maybe 110%. And some of you, hopefully, will have a 99%. Not less than that, anyway. So misunderstanding, you know. But now you have to lessen that. You will be able to lessen that. Day by day, year by year, you will be able to lessen that. By meditation. By putting yourself as a familiarize yourself with the union, with the Guru Padma Sambhava. With the Guru Padma Sambhava being the universal body, Avalokiteshvara self being universal speech, and Avalokiteshvara, the Amitabha being universal mind, universal concept. So you by meditating that, you are familiarizing with that. So through that kind of skill of meditating, Guru Padma Sambhava and all these things, you are getting into the scene of universal truth, which actually means, namingly universal truth, but that doesn't mean anything. It just means, non-attachment. Non-attachment. You will not... Non-attachment, again, you have to understand. When I say non-attachment, you will be... Non-attachment actually means not misunderstanding. You can say that without misunderstanding. With no misunderstanding. Let's put it like that. Misunderstanding to me is attachment. And not misunderstanding to me is non-attachment. It's the wisdom that we are talking about. It's hardly any difference between the attachment and misunderstanding. To me, there's no differences. Because of the non-attachment, you can say it that way. You can put it in that way too. It's easier. So you can say, because of the misunderstanding, the attachment comes. If you like that way, you can say that, like a cause and effect. But actual fact, it is not even a cause and effect. It is the same. There's hardly any difference. Misunderstanding itself is an attachment. attachment itself is a misunderstanding. There's hardly any difference. So misunderstanding needs to be minimized. Academically, for example, if somebody is very interested in academic and learning and studying and all these things and having degrees and all these things from high school and Buddhist high school, Buddhist this thing, that thing, philosophies and etc., etc. Yes, very good, but you have to have an aim, certain aim why you are doing that. And the aim should be the lessing, to make yourself less misunderstanding. That is the thing. No matter who you are talking about, but we are very much, as I said, we all are very, including myself, including the monks and the nuns, including the, those like newcomers of yogi. We all are having a certain type of misunderstanding. And the misunderstanding leads you to many, many things. Even though we practice misunderstandingly, Another way you can say, we are practicing with attachment. Very strong attachment. We practice very well, but with attachment. So it's wrong. So no attachment is a very good and very much the goal that we are talking about. But in order to reach there, you have to familiarize with certain method, skillful method, such as Guru Padma Sambhava, Avalokiteshvara, Amitabha. To transform the body, speech and mind. Visualization is needed. To transform the body and speech and mind, the mantra is needed. Om, Ah, Hong is needed. Vajra Guru Padma Siddhi Hong is needed. Vajra, skillful method. Diamond represents the skillful method. Padma represents the, Padma represents the purity state of the mind. And in other words, the Vajra represents the male and the Padma represents the female. And Guru in between the Vajra and Padma is the link between the emptiness and the skillful method. It's a link, it's a bridge. So therefore the Guru is very much the issue in the Vajrayana in general, and especially in Dzogchen and Yangti, very much the link. Link from the samsara to the nirvana is the Guru. Link from the Vajra to the Padma is the Guru. So therefore, Vajra, Guru, Padma. So when you go through the link of the Guru and succeed in terms of making it union or understanding it union, it's understanding its union, that is a great siddhi, the great achievement. That itself is a great achievement. So therefore it means, it said siddhi. Hong represents achievement, achieving the siddhi, achieving the goal, achieving the enlightenment. So Om Ahong, universal truth, universal body, speech and mind. Vajra Guru, Padma is the union between the Vajra and Padma. Vajra represents the appearance, the Padma represents non-appearance. In other words, the Vajra represents the skillful method, skillful way, skillful method. Padma represents the emptiness. There's another way to say that, is that not only way to say, but another way to understanding is that Another way of understanding is that the Vajra is the female energy, and then the Padma represents the female energy. No. What did I say? Vajra, male energy, masculine energy, and then the Padma, feminine's energy. Oh, these energies are very, very needed, very much there. It's not only just a girl and boy or the woman and man, but it is a universal energy that is there. It's not only just the different sexes, but it is the energy that we all have. Even male has both the energy, and the female has both the energy. So we have that energy, and the energy is going everywhere. It's an aura. And it's there, and it has to be understood. And it's there, why? That has to be understood. Why it's there is because of these two, existence and non-existence. Every phenomena has the existence part and the non-existing part. Two parts. Each phenomena holds the two representation. One representation is the existing part, and the other one is the non-existing part. For example, this, as I mentioned a couple of days ago, this pillar is very much existing, but there is very good reason not to be attached to that way. Why? Because it has its own non-existence part of it also. So you have to remember that part too. When you look at the pillar, right at that moment you have to understand that it has a non-existence part of it also. Whereas in our case, right now, when we see this pillar, or when we see a human being, when we see a dog, non-human, or when we see a friend, enemy, existing part is the one that is there overwhelmingly. But then non-existence part, where it is? Where is it? It's not there. It never thought about it. That is the greatest missing. You miss that part. And that is the reason why you have no understanding of union. You have no understanding of Dzogchen. You have no understanding of Mahamudra. Understanding. From the understanding point of view, we are very, very poor. Even though, ultimately speaking, we are primordially Buddha, primordially Kunduzangpo, primordially Dorje Chang, primordially we are Guru Padmasambhava. We are nothing wrong with it. But we don't understand. So, therefore, like milk has a butter, but milk needs to be put in the machine and whatever you do. I don't know. I have not. I'm not familiar with with the skill of making butter, but they have to do something out of milk, I guess, and then the butter comes. You cannot just say that the milk is a butter, so keep on drinking milk, and that will do. I don't think that will do. Even though it has a butter in it, but it has to be done something so that it will come. The butter has to become out of it milk. So similarly that we are primordially Buddha, primordially Guru Padmasambhava, Kunduzangpo, Dorje Chang, everything. But it's not good. It's not good enough to be like that. We have to be what do you call that? Contemplating it. Certain terminologies I can't remember. Anyway, contemplating it. You have to be possessing it. Possessing it. You have to make it. You have to make it happen. So that is what meditation means. You have to keep on meditating. So therefore, you have to keep on meditating. Actually means when you look at the pillar, when you just see, you don't have to look, but just to see there. So of course it's there. It's such a big pillar like that. So when you look at it, at the same time, spontaneously, you will be meditating it. If you are a good boy, good girl, you will be definitely doing it. Therefore, nowadays, not many students are good student. Not many disciples are good disciple, because they listen to the teachings of Guru, but they don't practice. When they have these views, the views goes by, but you don't grab it. Such a waste. All the view, as long as you have your eyes open, you can see anything. You have to see. There's no doubt about it. But that the millions of things are going by, but you are not grabbing it. You're not really utilizing it. So everything that is happening in your life has to be meditate, but you are not meditating it. We are not meditating it. We are just missed it. Everything is missed it. So then, of course, then the death will come, and then difficulty. So many difficulties will be expected after that, because God knows where you will be reborn. Will there be any masters? Will there be any sort of guidelines? Will there be any sort of circumstances, such as Dharma brother and sisters, and this and so forth? There's a lot of questions anyway, but we don't know. We have no idea where we are going. Even though we don't believe in the next life, there will be a next life, and we have to go. And sometimes people think, oh yeah, I will be rebirth. I will be taking rebirth in a kind of, let's say, this kind of same environment. You hope, but most probably not, unfortunately to say. So it's difficult, Recently I have a friend who has just died, and he said as the last word, I want to be born where there is electricity. That's all he said. I think it has some sense. It makes some sense. When there's no electricity, it's a little problematic to find the door, to find the mug, to find the tea. It's difficult, So electricity is good. So anyway, that sort of thing. So your meditation is very important, and I hope you understood a little bit about the meditation. And I'm not going through the details about these things, I don't want to go through all these details, because anyway, not many of you will go through the details in practice, definitely. So, but it's good enough if you really go with the skill of grabbing the opportunities that naturally given to you. Not by God or Buddha or Guru even. Guru just introduced, that's all. And now, from now onward, when you get out of this hole, it's the time for you to be good boy, good girl, and contemplating it. And if you contemplate it, that's it. That's what meditation means. That's what it's need to be done. But as I said, many of the students are not being good boy, good girl. Why? Because they have not been doing the things which is already given, naturally given. It's not something that, oh, I wanted to do the practice, but I can't do it. I don't have time. I don't have book. I don't have shrine. I don't have cushion to sit on. You don't have to have a cushion to sit on. The chair will be okay. chair will do, anything, the bed will do, anything, the floor will do, or just walk, or bicycle, motorbike, car, it doesn't matter, or office. So those stupid excuses are just kind of a complementary to your not being good boy, good girl. Just a complimentary, that's it. Just comes together with it, same package. I have no time. I have so many jobs, so many work in the office. I want to do practice, but how can I do it? I have no time, simply too busy, too busy in the office, and when I come back, too busy with my wife, too busy with my husband, too busy with my children, too busy with that. But of course, when you think about it, you have a lot of time. You have a lot of time to waste. You're wasting a lot of time watching television. You are wasting a lot of time watching Facebook. You are wasting a lot of time browsing internets. Really. So, if you really think about it, you have a plenty of time. You can never say, okay, you can say for the sake of something else, but actual fact, you have a lots of time for yourself. So you have to be kind to yourself and say, hey, I do have a time, you have a time. Now, utilize it and grab it, don't miss it. So you have to tell yourself. Otherwise, if you do not manage to become the master to yourself, I think you are, let's say, you're gone already. That is the reason why discipline is so important. And if you are not managing to do it that way, yourself, treating yourself as your own master, then you need a human master. You need a constant human master. You need constant human friends, the Dharma friends. Therefore, that is the kind of a period, or that is the kind of a gap that you have to tell yourself, let's go to monastery, let's go to nunnery. Discipline yourself to go to monastery, to go to nunnery, to go to retreat center and chant grouply, prostrate grouply, circumambulating grouply. I am part of that group. Let's go that. Saturday, today is Saturday, I'm going there. Today is Friday, I'm going there. I'm doing that. You have to discipline yourself. If you can't do back in your home, office, bicycling, and in a day-to-day life, and you are always keep on saying to yourself, fooling yourself, saying that you don't have enough time. Okay, then let's go. Then you discipline yourself. If you are there in the monastery, nunnery, then the nuns will chant. So you have no choice but chant. You have to chant. And you have to do practice. You cannot browse internet in the monastery, in the temple. Who knows, one day everybody will have a set of computer in the front of table and in the temple, then they can browse. Maybe the remote control in our hand, and then you can browse. But not so far, not yet. So, therefore you will have a time. You always fooling yourself, you always fool yourself and say, I have no time. But you have a lot of time. This is what, I'm not saying on you, I'm saying sort of like towards you, that's just only facing to yourself, to you guys. But to my own experience also. I also say, I'm so busy, I can't see anybody, I can't do this, I do have a time, to tell you truth. I do have a time when I want. Generally I don't want, so therefore I don't have time. Yeah, so of course externally say, I'm so busy, yes. Yes, I am busy. But do I really have no time? No, I do have a time. for sure. But of course, this is again, from a mundane point of view, you say, yeah, that you deserve. You deserve yourself having a time by your own thing. What a rubbish! Your own life, you deserve your own time. What are you going to do with your own time? Browsing the internet, Facebook, and this and that. Waste time, or sleep, listen music, this and that. It's all okay, but too much, and wasting a lot of time. So this is what you have to understand yourself, and discipline. Some of my friends said he took nothing but a vow not to browse internet for a certain period of time, maybe week or maybe month. He took vow, and I think that is a very good. I think these days we have to take the vow not to touch the computer, not to touch the mobile. That is a very, very good practice, I think, really. It's a modern, but those old days, we don't have a mobile phone. We don't have an internet. We don't have a computer. So it's okay. There is other sorts of things that we have to discipline with. There was. But nowadays, I think the most vivid and most, dangerous and the very, very, very bad addiction, it's a very addictive thing, is the internet. That we have to really, I'm not joking, you have to take a discipline and say the vow. I'm vowing that not to touch computer. By the way, I am going to be renounced forever the mobile and the computer, that's for sure. That's vowed already, but I don't know when. Okay. See, that's all. So that's all for today. So then tomorrow again we will gossip a little bit more. That's all. Thank you very much. And dedication. Sanam de tamje zivani Tome Nivedana Pamjade Kedana Chibalai Truvai Sipe Sole Duai Duarashu Chanchu Jojin Boche Maike Banam Kiguruji Kiwanyamba Me Pareyan Koni Bundu Belorashu Pargirila me shabatan tinsni ki busate onla kya tembe chinda atanjro temba yuri ne beta shi